This is Dabu7. I've talked about sigils, predictive programming, all those things in the past. We've talked about the memes, and we've talked about the theme of this assassination of Donald Trump reoccurring and showing up again and again and again in different forms and fashion. Here recently, the Secret Service, or a former Secret Service agent, had made a statement about the lax security at the White House. There has been talk of the security around Trump, Trump Tower, Trump in D.C., and how they would be able to pull this all off. There has also been threats thrown at Donald Trump, unlike threats I've ever seen before when it comes to a president. And as you can see here, in Snoop Dogg's latest politically charged music video, he is shooting a clown dressed as Donald Trump. Now, this is the climax of the whole video. Afterwards, there's standing around smoking and laughing and throwing up hand signs. But this is the main point of the whole video. Snoop grabbing his gun, going out, and shooting a clown that looks just like Trump. Now, they make good to call him Crump or Clump. Even change the name of YouTube on here, everything. But the message is clear. It is depicting Snoop Dogg picking up the gun and shooting Donald Trump. Now, there was also an image floating around that was said to be of The Simpsons, or from The Simpsons, of Donald Trump in a casket. But it looks like that is fake. It looks like it's not legitimate at this point, because it was said to have aired on The Simpsons and shared on the Huffington Post, but I've done some digging and I cannot find the video clip. All I can find is people saying that this looks to be fake. But it's just the idea. It's the thought that someone went that far out of their way to create something like that depicting Donald Trump being assassinated. And once again, it's the main theme here. I can't remember a time when there were so many threats on a president ever, and that it is openly being shown. And to me, it's almost like predictive programming. So if something like this was to ever occur, you shouldn't wonder how, who, or anything else. It shows that the hand behind the scene, the same hand that was behind Pearl Harbor, the same hand that was behind 9/11, and every other staged event would surely be the hand behind this one. And I can't help but feel in the pit of my stomach that if anything like this was to ever happen in this country, that the very first thing that you would hear coming down the pike after an event like this is going to be the repeated term of domestic terror. So if this event ever does happen, and we have individuals looking back trying to make sense of all these things, all the earmarks are there, all the predictive programming is there, and to me, this is going right along the lines of what the hand, the dark hand behind the scene does. The same hand that eliminated JFK, the same hand that brought down those Twin Towers. That's what I'm talking about. It would mean that this whole thing is a ploy that many people knew about, and it was all to be set in motion for a larger reason. Now, in terms of Trump, with this, all I can think of in the end is that if anything was to happen to this man, the very first thing you're going to hear from the mainstream media is terror. That this was a terror attack by Americans that did not like Donald Trump, and this is going to cut a dividing line between people in this country. It would throw things into pure chaos and could truly spark a civil war between people. And who's to even say that an individual would truly be dead at that point? A la Machiavelli. This is a play on the minds of the people, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to wrap your head around that first and foremost, regardless of how, when, or if this was to ever happen. I'm telling you, if it did, the main theme coming down the pike after it is domestic terror. And if it ever does, and you find your way back to this video saying, well, you called it, well, it's because we've seen this time and time again. It's always the same hand behind these events that pulls this off. Why would it be anyone or anything different? Yeah, you're going to have randoms that come out of the shadows and do things here and there. But when things seem to be so well thought and plotted out, planned, ticker taped into the minds of people, it's definitely part of a bigger theme and a bigger plan that others have in motion, in my opinion. So that's where it sits here with this latest politically charged music video from Snoop Dogg, grabbing the gun off the table, walking outside, pulling the trigger on the clown portraying Trump. So just the most recent incident, and like I said, for those that were wondering about the whole Simpsons thing here, it looks like it's checking out to be fake at this point, or at least they haven't aired it. And if I find out anything different, I'll do a separate video and talk about that. But thus far, that's where it sits. Wanted to get the information out there and let it be known. I will update with more if things change. But you just remember what I said. If this was to ever come to pass, there would never be the words ISIL or any other militants or boogeymen ever muttered. It will be domestic terror. That's what they want to label you all. It's time you get hit to it. This has been Dabu7, and this is Illuminati.